It was on, but it's off now. I could see it, but now I can't.
What about now?
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay. So as you have seen, we are now approaching the mid-year, and already we've done the F1 test. So now we are going to do the F2 assessment. It's going to be in a form of an individual assignment, and it's going to be due on the week of 19 May to 26 May. So literally that's next month. But I know that students have got a tendency of relaxing and relaxing and relaxing till the last minute. But what I can encourage you to do is that whenever we cover a topic, if we haven't covered the topic yet, that is related to the question in the brief, you need to answer that topic, the question of that topic, in the same week so that you do not forget about the things that we have just discussed. You need to apply those things when the idea is still fresh in your mind, rather than waiting for 3 weeks. And the moment you start applying this, you just have realized that you've forgotten about the concept that we have covered. So, for example, if this week you are talking about customer learning, and there's a question in the brief that talks about customer learning, attend to that question this week as we have just unpacked the concept of customer learning, so that you can answer the question when the ideas, the engagements are still fresh in your mind. But if you leave it, especially to those who do not take notes, if you leave it and wait for the submission week, by that time you'd have forgotten most of the stuff that we discussed when unpacking that topic. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Yes, making sense.
Yeah, so we are going to be covering chapter 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 9 of consumer behavior in the textbook that you have. And already, most of the topics we've covered already. Remember, in the F1, we had chapter 1 to 3. So now this assessment is going to take over from chapter 4 to chapter 9. It's an individual assignment, so it means that you are going to work on your own. It's not a group assignment. And that's why we are going to look at this assignment well on time. There are more than 4 weeks, so you've got enough time to prepare for this assignment. And it is not a test, so there are no surprises here like you had in the test. You've got plenty time to go through this assessment. So as I've already told you guys several times in class, we do in marketing, we work on both theory and practice. So we have on several occasions unpacked the marketing concepts in class. So that's what the textbook is for. That's what the engagement with me and other resources that we come across are for. But you also need to apply these concepts in real life, in reality. So you need to bring these concepts to life. So you realize that with these assessments, we give you some case studies that you need to have a look at. And once you go through the brief for that case study, you need to apply the concepts that we have learned in class. So these assignments are actually application based. So we have got a case study that was reported by Kanta in Biz Community, if I remember. And the case study is titled Kanta Brand Z, lesson 3 of 7. So there are other lessons that you'd like to to go and read about this Canter series, but the focus on this one is going to be on lesson 3 of the 7. So I'm going to focus on this particular case study. That's where our focus is going to be on. So I'm going to read this for you. I'm just waiting for my program here to stabilize because it says that it's not responding. So I'm going to read this for you. But remember, it's not going to be the only time you are going to go through this. Even during your spare time on your own, when you are going through this assignment, I encourage you to read 2 or 3 times, because that's sort of a comprehension passage. I don't know if you did comprehension at high school, but you need to read this several times in order to familiarize yourself with. So it's something that is freshly new, that was done last year in February. How customer obsession and tech have powered the Take-A-Lot growth story. Do you know Take-A-Lot before I go through this passage?
Yes, Take-A-Lot, is it like the online store that also delivers? Yes, I know what it is. It's the online store.
That's correct. Have you ever used Take-A-Lot? Do you have an account with Take-A-Lot? Have you ordered something on Take-A-Lot and it was delivered to you?
No, I don't have it, but I know people who have it.
Okay. All right. Okay, but I'm just glad that that at least you know the existence of Take-A-Lot. So at least you are talking about something that you are more familiar with. So I'm going to read this through. Time and again, the global counter brand Z data has proven those brands that continue to invest in building a solid brand are the ones that grow faster. With digital no longer just a nice to have, but a must have for brand growth, technology is the biggest game changer at play today. It's what kept specific brand names in consumers' mind and their products in consumers' hands, driving the innovation that saw Take-A-Lot emerge as one of this year's standout South African brands. No brand shows the global trend towards tech enablement brands better than local e-commerce giant Take-A-Lot. High on the counter brand Z radar for many years as one of the most different brands outside the ranking. Take-A-Lot grew its meaningfulness massively in the past year, with people finding the brand fulfills their new needs in a way that increases both trust and relevance. After all, Take-A-Lot was integral to South Africans' rapid adoption of e-commerce, helping them become increasingly comfortable with and even dependent on the e-commerce for shopping. Ensuring contactless deliveries during the pandemic therefore saw the brand enter the ranking at number 23 in 2021 as the year's only newcomer with a value of $446 million. This growth streak is set to continue as the potential index from the Canterbury Z equity study shows that Take-A-Lot is highly likely to increase share in the next year amongst retailers. Julian Wash, Chief Marketing Officer of Take-A-Lot, commented at the Canterbury Z Most Valuable South African launch that is an honor to have a voice amongst local champion brands that Take-A-Lot has always looked up to. Take-A-Lot is the ultimate South African brand story. We love to talk from the point of where we began to appreciate where we are now and what our lofty goals are for 5 to 10 years. We started at a little rented house in Goodwood in Cape Town with 25 staff members and a couple of 100 delivery drivers that delivered directly to the door. Everyone was doing everything. Over time, we've grown into a solid business trusted by 2.5 million happy customers with strong executive leadership that has defined vision and mission that hasn't changed over time. That vision is to provide the most customer-centric online shopping experience in Africa with the mission to offer the broadcast range of products and the best price while saving customers, enabling business partners to prosper and employees to thrive. It's an authentic South African disruptor brand, especially regarding customer experience. The power of customer obsession in the age of experience. South Africans now live in an age of experience, looking for something beyond value for money. Therefore, innovative brands put their customers at the center of what they do and understand them better. That's the starting point to create memorable moments that ultimately lead to loyalty and growth. But successful brands do more than get more people to desire them actively. It's also about exposing them to ideas, impressions, and feelings that influence how they shop in a category. Takealot is an excellent example of a brand getting this right. While still small compared with some of South Africa's more traditional retailers, Amazon started even smaller. So it's little surprise then that Takealot was also primarily responsible for driving category growth in retail with revenue soaring 65% last year, 8.7 billion rands. Therefore, retailers were amongst the best performing brands in value in the most recent Kenta Brand Z ranking of the most valuable South African brands, growing 16% overall. Much of the growth of this category was indeed driven by the inclusion of Takealot in the rankings, which highlights a broader trend towards the digitization of shopping in the country. But as South Africans warms to online buying, with the number of people buying groceries online, their basket size increasing, customer experience has become more critical than ever before. Only 31% of consumers saying that buying groceries and household products online is preferred to shop, with just 39% of customers reporting mostly good experience buying groceries online. If retailers want to keep this new class of consumers, they need to improve their delivery experience. The category can learn from Takealot. Building and maintaining trust, the online customer experience opportunity. Charlie Stewart, CEO of Rogeco, comments in the digital customer experience report. Based on the annual over-to-use study amongst 2,000 online South Africans, the opportunity cost is pretty clear. Consumers expect a higher level of experience from brands that they buy online from. This could, in part, be because they have become used to the customer experience of an Amazon or Takealot. These brands have set a high bar, and local retailers need to up their online game if they are to convert the huge appetite among consumers for online shopping into rands and cents. Stewart adds that these heightened expectations of digital consumer experience means online brands need to focus on building and maintaining trust. While it is intangible, it can make or break a sale. He notes experience is the first factor of building that trust. With large stores like Amazon and Takealot having gotten this journey right, Kantar's own Customer Experience Plus 2020 retail ranking study backs this finding, offering an understanding of the new customer landscape across different retail sectors, both in COVID times and into recovery. The only sector-specific study to analyze customer centricity holistically across general and fashion retail pinpoint how to bridge the gap between customer experience and brand promise by revealing brand pressure points. Informed by research in 17 countries, including South Africa, across 1,300 brands with feedback from more than 140,000 people, Takealot stood out as one of South Africa's top 3 CX Plus 2020 general retailers. Digital streamline Takealot's real-world brand promise delivery. Wash confirms we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you, our customers. You are our inspiration, focus, and obsession, and we do everything we do to make sure that you get what you need to your door when you need it. So, every decision we make around spending our budget for marketing and every call we make around what we do with technology and where we put our focus and efforts is based on our strategy of driving brand growth by better satisfying our customers' needs. That moment of joy when you get a Takealot delivery is one of the fun things I am so super excited about. Our steely focus, understanding our customers, and putting our money into the brand building will yield long-term brand awareness while keeping the insights, while keeping the lights on with performance and marketing being quintessentially South African in our makeup, and every story we tell will drive our brand growth over time. New Takealot Group CEO Mamogai Mahlare comments on that focus. The opportunity to lead a technology-centric, innovative South African champion that has created thousands of jobs and enabled so many small and medium enterprises over the past 10 years is both exciting and humbling. I look forward to working with the teams to take this great company to even greater heights. So this was reported in Biz Community, and there is a link for that article. So all these questions that you are going to be discussing are going to be based on this case study, but you've got a section B, which is going to be focusing on something else. So we are going to go through that as I unpack this assessment brief. You would realize that this assessment is out of, I'm just looking for the marks here. It should be out of 120, but we'll have a look at that as we go through. So we've got section A, which is case study based. So section A, it is 50 marks. And section B is 30 marks, making it 80. Then you've got extra additional marks, the 20 marks, making it 100. So on question 1, it says, explain the concept of green marketing. Can you hear me, Benton?
Yes, I can hear you. I was having internet problems, like connection problems.
Okay. All right. So here you are asked to explain the concept of green marketing. It is in your textbook. You can look for additional sources, but it's only 3 marks, meaning you only need to give a definition here. The quantity of marks determines how much time you're going to spend on a question. So here, if it's 3 marks, it's only a definition, perhaps with an example, because you are just describing the concept of green marketing. So that's 3 marks. Then on the second question, provide 2 ways in which Takealot has responded to the concept of green marketing. So after you have described what marketing is or is all about, now you need to provide 2 ways in which Takealot has responded to that concept that you have just described in question 1. So you need to tell us what is it that Takealot is doing as part of their green marketing. That is going to be 2 marks. So you are not only listing those ways, but you are telling us how Takealot is doing it. They need to be 2 ways, not 1 way. Students have got a tendency of coming up with one concept and they over-explain it to make it look as if it's 2. So you need to have 2 separate ways, 2 concepts that Takealot is doing as part of their response to green marketing. So that's 5 marks. Then question 3. And as you can see, you also have pointers here where you can get the answers for. So really students must be able to utilize this. Every aspect of marketing is affected and governed by the laws and restrictions of the government. So that's from your textbook. Now you need to explain the influence of governmental factors on Takealot. So we spoke about the factors influencing consumer behavior, but here the focus is only going to be on governmental factors. So you're not talking about social factors here. You're not talking about economic factors here. You're talking about the role of government and its laws and its regulations on Takealot. So you also need to provide 2 South African legislation that Takealot must consider as an e-commerce business. So we have got 12 marks there that you need to utilize out of question 3. Are there any questions about on question 1? Are there any questions about this?
No, not really, sir. Not really.
Okay.
You said this is like based on chapter 3 and 4.
Yes, if I remember very well. I just don't have the textbook here.
Okay, no problem.
All right. But whenever you come across anything that you'd like us to discuss, please do so. Then here, let me just remove these red links because they shouldn't be there. I'll remove them in time. Then we've got question 2, reference groups and social class. Do you remember us talking about reference groups and social class?
Yes, I remember.
Exactly. So we have already done this in class. So these are not strange topics that have just emerged for the sake of the assignment. It's something that we have already done in class. We spoke about it. We have discussed it. And there's nothing that can stop you from actually starting the assignment now. So the marketing manager for Takealot in South Africa has asked for your opinion on the relevance and purpose of reference groups and social class in marketing. Explain to the marketing manager how she can use reference groups and social class in the marketing of Takealot brand and its products. So I remember we spoke about Amapiano and so on. So now, in your presentation on reference groups to the marketing manager, you are advised that aspirational reference groups significantly influence consumer behavior. The marketing manager was interested in your presentation. and would like to engage in celebrity endorsement. So you need to explain the concept of celebrity endorsement in marketing. And so here you are only providing a definition because it's only 2 marks. And as a qualifying marketing personnel, advise the Take a Lot marketing manager on the celebrity endorsement, negative and positive impact on Take a Lot brand. So that's 8 marks. I would advise you on question 2.1 and 2.3. If you want this to be easier for you when answering this section, you need to come up with tables. So on question 2.1, you must create a table with 2 columns. The other columns, it's about reference groups, and the second column, it's about social class. Now, on those columns, in the rows, you need to talk about the relevance and purpose of reference groups and social class in marketing. So that's how you need to do it. Also, on celebrity endorsement, on question 2.3, you need to come up with a table because it makes things easier. On the first column, you talk about the negative aspects of celebrity endorsement on Take a Lot. Then on the other column, you talk about the positive impact of celebrity endorsement on the Take a Lot brand. So that's how you should do this. And because it's 8 marks there, you must have 4 rows. So each row can give you 2 marks. So that would be 4 times 2, making it 8. Are there any questions on question 2?
No, sir, I understand.
Okay. But remember, the recording link for this session is going to be uploaded on Core Campus. So if there's something that you do not understand now and you'd like to engage on later, you can either visit the recordings of this session, or you can always ask me in class. Then we move on to question 3. Do you think age is an essential characteristic in the marketing of Take a Lot product? That's the first part of the question. Provide reasons to justify your answer, mainly focusing on the Take a Lot brand and its product. We spoke about age. We spoke about the South African population, if you remember. We spoke about life expectancy. We spoke about marketing to different genders. We spoke about marketing to LGBTQ, like there's lots that we spoke about, including age. So this is also part of revision. We've already done this in class. And you need to make sure that you are fully answering the question. So the first part of the question is asking whether you think age is an essential characteristic. So you need to indicate that, then you need to provide reasons. Okay. Is there anything that you need to discuss on personal characteristics?
No, sir, I understand.
Okay, so we are done with section A. Now we are going to look at section B. Section B has got nothing to do with Take a Lot. So we realize that section A was a case study based. So now we are going to have a scenario based questions, which are out of 30 marks. Out of 30. So it's 30 marks of the entire assessment. So the LAP 215 tablet. You know a tablet, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Let's have it a phone.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I know it.
Okay. So Top Labs, a laptop manufacturing company based in South Africa, is going through a rough patch and facing many marketing related problems. the organization is losing its customers and market share. Demand and sales of its product, especially the LEP 215 tablet, is low, and it seems customers have developed a negative attitude towards their brand and product. You have been called into the company's rescue as a qualified marketing personnel. So now, question 4.1. You need to explain how the company can use brand image and brand price as a quality cue to influence consumers' perception. So we haven't covered this yet. Everything that we've discussed in section A, we have covered so far. There is nothing stopping you to start working on section A. Then with section B, we are actually going to talk about price as a quality cue to influence consumers' perception. We are going to talk about customer perception. Once we discuss that, you can always come back to this brief and be able to put on notes related to this question so that you are applying it when it's still fresh in your mind. Because the basic goal of many marketing communication is to influence consumers' attitudes towards a product. The ABC model has important implications for marketing. Explain the ABC model of attitude. Use the LEP 215 tablet from top left to explain or illustrate each component of the ABC model. Again, we haven't covered the concept of ABC, but we are going to be covering it in the few weeks to come. So realize that A stands for something, B stands for something, and C stands for something. So you are going to be able to know that model. And once we are on that chapter, please be able to come back again to this brief and be able to apply those concepts to this scenario. Then explain how the company top labs can influence a change in consumers' attitudes towards their brand and products. We are also going to cover this, and actually it's going to start in our next lesson, which talks about learning. So how can we change consumers' attitudes towards a brand and a product? We are going to cover that in lessons to come. Don't be confused here. Remember, Top Labs is a manufacturer. Then LEP 215 tablet is one of their products, because I realized that students can be confused with the difference between Top Labs and LEP 215. So LEP 215 is a product manufactured by Top Labs. Are there any questions with regards to section B of the assignment?
No, not yet, not yet.
Okay. So one of the good things that I love about tertiary academic assignments is that there are always additional marks, what you can call free marks for your conduct, to just show that you can maintain academic professionalism, you can stick to the referencing, you can present well, you can work on your grammar and sentence construction. You can also use the formatting and all the evidence that are required. So these are actually free marks that are based on your conduct as an individual student. Because in the industry of marketing, you are going to be required to maintain consistency, be it in the structure of your presentation or in the layout of your presentation. You have to be consistent. The font that you use, the writing style that you use, it has to be consistent. So you have got these free marks that are going to be based on your behavior. So realize that if you get 30 marks in the assignment and you get 20 and you do everything well here, you actually pass. So you actually need to take advantage of these 20 marks, additional marks that do not require you to visit any concept, that do not require you to go through the textbook. They just require you to stick to the academic principles. So you have got 7 marks for referencing all your sources accurately and correctly, both in text and in a list of references. So you need to go through Harvard referencing method. It's easy, but students always make it difficult. I know that you are going to go through to different sources, but you need to reference those sources accordingly. I've seen students on many occasions that they come across a good source on the internet and it has been written by the staff. So at the top it says by the staff writer, or it says by the admin, or it says by the reporter. When you reference sources like that, you do not say by the reporter in your assignment. You do not say by the admin. You do not say by the staff writer. You use the name of the publication. So if someone's details were not specified, such as Benton Nkosi, but instead it says the staff writer, you do not say the staff writer. You name the publication. So instead of saying according to the writer, you say according to Biz Community, because that article was published by Biz Community. It was published by the staff writer of Biz Community. So if there's no human name and human surname there, use the name of the publication. Am I making any clear, Benton?
Yes, it's making sense.
Yes, so I don't want to see anything in your assignment saying the admin 2021 page 5. That's not a human being. But if it has got a name, such as Benton Nkosi, you can always say, according to Nkosi, 2021 page 4, this and that. Okay, so please go and revisit our Harvard referencing method. You know, there are ways in which you can reference a website, ways in which you can reference a textbook, a journal, an app, and so on. I also know that English is not our mother tongue, and sometimes we do run out of airtime when it comes to English because we think in our native language. However, you need to make sure that you improve on your spelling, grammar, sentence construction, structure, logic, and so on. So please try by all means to use short sentences, because the more you are providing an argument in a lengthy sentence, the more there is grammar there. So you need to try by all means to have short sentences that are precise, because this subject is delivered in English, and we also need to assess the way you are articulating your academic arguments. So please make use of good language. You also need to have a professional presentation and formatting. So everything is there at the bottom of the assessment. You have been taught which format you're going to use for this assessment. You need to use Arial or Times New Roman. So nothing other than that. If you use something else, it means that you are not following instructions and you are going to be penalized. So this is going to be a typed assignment. You are not going to use a pen or paper. You are going to type it. It must be Times Roman or Arial. So if you decide to use Times Roman, it means that you have to be consistent throughout your assignment. It has to be Times Roman. If you decide to use Arial, it has to be consistent throughout the assignment. It has to be Arial. So you must not use both. Font size is 12 and spacing has to be 1.5. So are you familiar with everything that I'm talking about here? Or do you want me to show you where to find Times New Roman?
No, sir, no, it is.
Okay. All right. So these things, you are going to get free marks if you use them. But unfortunately, if you go off script, you do not follow the instructions that are on this brief, you are going to be penalized for that. So realize that out of these 6 marks for formatting and presentation, you can actually get 1 out of 6. And that's actually a waste of marks because you are not required to have some cognitive thinking here. You just need to follow the instructions. You need to stick to Harvard referencing. You need to come up with a consistent layout for the assessment. Are there any questions?
No, sir, no question.
Okay, so that's it about the F2 brief. And I hope you are going to spend more time on this because at the end of the day, as your lecturer, I want everyone to pass this assessment, and it also shows that I'm doing my job. So please, you've got enough time till May to go through this assignment. I'd like you to prepare, to have enough time to prepare and eliminate any room for procrastination.
Yes, sir, no problem.
All right, so that's it about F2. We are actually done with the brief, and we are now going to move on to today's business.